All right. Can everybody hear me? Welcome, if you're here.
Hello, Jared.
Can anyone explain what hedge is? MT5 has a hedge feature on it where you can, if you take a buy position and then you take a sell position, it closes that position. It has nothing to do with real or demo accounts. It's just the way that MT5 is set up compared to MT4. These are all real accounts anyways, for the most part. I guess we'll go through and let's talk about a week. I think everyone had a good week. I know everyone did analysis. I think the webinars help in the morning and the evening. I know Rakeel is probably in Vancouver right now doing whatever he's doing. But I think if you're not attending those webinars or you're not able to, that's okay. But if you have the opportunity, you should. Even if you're not trading a specific pair, just to gain some insight and be able to map that over to what you want to do. Because, I mean, when you look at what we did this week as a group, I think there was a lot of profitable people, and then there were still people that were struggling with certain things. And I mean, I did one when Rakeel wasn't available. I jumped in and took over for a bit, and you know, people are bitching at me because I'm not around as much as I used to be, but I am. I just feel that a lot of groups are running fairly well on their own, and everyone's sort of hunkering down and doing their thing. I think some key things that we have to think about as traders. I'm going to go through this with the weekend, just because you know, you can sort of see where certain things finish. Like if we look at this is GJ on the daily, what you'll find is, I mean, you know, if we just look at what I did. Let's do this. I think I did analysis on GJ. Yeah, so this is what I think what I gave out to everybody this week. This is sort of what the analysis was, what was going to happen this week. And if you see where we started at 150.71, and then we had that push. But the key points were we had this rejection area. And this was once again on the daily. And then when we look now at our daily, so if I'm a little bit smarter, and I'll do this to make it easier on everybody. So 147.96, 47, yeah. So like right there, 150.70. Like right there. So you can start to see where we had all these different things in 152, 622, or 152, 6. I can do it exactly, but I won't. But now you can start to see sort of how we had these various ranges. But more importantly, as you go through, you know, we did talk about a bullish sentiment all the way up, but there's some key things that you should take away from this week. And this is what you should be doing on the weekends when you review your charts. Is, you know, you sort of look at where we started the week and where we finished the week, basically, right? And you sort of count your, you know, this is your Friday candle, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday candle, right? So you have all this elements right here. These are your candles, that what you're looking at. But you know, what was the catalyst for these movements? You know, how did we get to where we got to this week? And what I do is I look left. Okay, so these are your catalysts right here. You can clearly see there was two big rejection candles. And when I was looking at analysis last Sunday, these were my targets. Okay. Reason being is, once again, we'll use the swimming pool analogy. Here's your swimming pool. You dip into the pool, you swim, and then you jump back out of the pool. Right? So what happened here? So if we look at that and we go through the same scenario, here's a dip, here's your dip, here's your dip, right? So once again, we jumped out of the pool, went down, further down, jumped out of the pool here, went further up, tried to jump out, and then we further out, and then we came over here. And then when you look, you can see we've come across. So you have that, if you're into aliens like I am, you have this alien ship, right? Like if you've seen those alien sci-fi shows, they always show this ship that looks like this, right? It's like a little triangle. That's sort of what you've done here, right? You've basically triangulated that area. Now, so you say to yourself, well, Ted, you know, great, I'm glad you're showing this after the fact. How would this have been able to help me throughout the week? Okay, so let's talk about throughout the week. And let's go through and talk about shorter time frames. Let's talk about the 4 hour. So I'll do this, you know, and we'll go through the 4 hour time frames. And what you'll see is you'll see a lot of patterns, right? Because what you're doing with your 4 hour time frames, or even your hourly time frames, you're starting to look at trends, right? So, you know, here's your March. So let's go over here, go into April. So let me just zoom in a bit more, and I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, and this will hopefully help you a little bit more. All right, so here we are. Go zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so we'll zoom in a little bit more and let's talk about the week. Okay, so you have your 4 hour candles. Each one of these candles is a 4 hour candle, right? So if we want to talk about today's the 13th, right? So 13th, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, right? So you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what you need to do is you need to understand what's happening in these specific events, right? And for the most part, you can see clear patterns. You can see where we had opposite patterns, patterns again, right? And then continuations. So when you look at your timing of your trades, you're going to start to realize that there were a lot of times where a New York session went up, Asian session went down, next day New York session went up, then Asian session went down again, okay? So these were certain things that if you had picked up as you were trading this week, you would start to recognize that, and then you can anticipate those movements, right? Because, you know, at the same time, everybody was trying to, you know, make trades and you know, ride these trends all the way up. But then, you know, what ends up happening here is you have a huge drop, we go to support, and then we fire back up again, right? We had another drop here, and then we fire back up again. So when you look at certain trades, and if you look at your 4 hour candles, what would have been basically, I would say, a safe trade for the most part? I mean, here you get stopped out, right? Because, you know, if you had taken, you could have probably taken a buy stop over here. You would have had it pull all the way back, and then you would have had to wait for it. So it would have come over here, right? So if you're looking across, you would have had that buy stop still sitting here. It would have pulled back, and then you would have continuation up. But then, I mean, once again, you were close to resistance, right? So, I mean, you have to be aware of that. But more importantly, when you saw this tail here and you saw this support level, more than likely we're going up. Okay, so when you look at things like that, it's very important that you study the session that you're working in. So when you see the various time frames, you see that trend up and you see that trend down, trend back up, you have to recognize, when is this stuff happening? When are we getting these moves? And you need to focus on figuring out when those moves are happening. You need to understand that, because you'll start to see patterns where the market pushes and then it exhausts, and then it pushes again, and then it exhausts. Look what's happened here. All day today, we've exhausted, right? Does that mean that now we're on a descent? No. It means that we're coming back for a retest. Your 14 EMA, as people like to use on the 4-hour charts. If you had turned around and taken a buy stop here, you would have had a little bit of difficulty. But more importantly, it's Friday, right? So this is the Friday candles. We're not taking trades anymore. Because when you start to go back and you then take a look at your daily, you can see when we look at our daily candle, we had a huge push up, but more importantly, we just about filled this wick, right? So this wick just about got filled for the most part. And what do we say with wick fills? Wick fills fill in momentum. We would get that fill in momentum. And when you look across, we basically did. Look at this area here. This is now 155 area. We went from basically 150 all the way up to 153 in 1 week. 3 cents. That's a lot of movement, okay? So this is where, your logic comes in, right? So you sit there and you're trading and you're looking and saying, well, it's just going to keep going up, so I'm just going to keep taking buys. Look at logical information, okay? We just can't keep going up forever. There has to be a pullback. So you have to keep that in mind when you're trading. As much as you study charts and as much as you want to say, oh, EMA crossover here, crossover here, yeah, it goes down, goes up. That is great, but a lot of times this is common sense. This is logic. You have to really just take a look and say, what is happening? Why is it happening? And you have to logically go through your steps and you have to say, we're going over here, we cleared over here, we filled this wick here. How often is that going to happen? And then we have to say to ourselves, my risk and my reward, what are we doing to manage that? Right? We know we have an upwards trend, but we also know GJ wicks very, very hard. So we have to be aware of that. So you have to be aware of, the pair that you're working with, the session, and ultimately, where are we in the week, right? Where are we? Monday, everything starts up. So, market's going to move a bit. Tuesday, market moves a bit more. Wednesday, Thursday, you have those big moves. Friday is always, we don't know what's going to happen because of the fact that it's the end of the week. People are closing up shop. People are slowing down. Things are going to change. So you have to understand that and you have to be prepared. You have to map out your trading for the whole week. You have to anticipate and you have to understand what's happening in the market. And you don't need a chart to figure this out. You just need to look logically. And it's okay to be wrong, right? Because what did I say? I said, oh, once we get to 150, 152, probably no good anymore. Look, still further up. That's okay. I'm okay with that because I got to where I needed to be. I got to the trade I needed to be and I was happy with that. Or I got to the trade where I needed to be and I was happy with that. Like, you have to understand that you can't catch every single move in the market. Now let's go over to gold. So here's gold on the daily. Okay, so we talked about gold the other day, and you know everybody ran jump for joy with gold. You know they had this trade over here. You know we'll jump into the hourly. Uh, let's look at the hourly. So you can see here on the hourly, right? So the other day we were all sitting here and we were saying, oh, you know, it's going to break this level, going to break these key levels. We had consolidation, we pushed up, and then it flew all the way up to like this level here, 1364, right? Now, anyone who is buying at this point, go jump off a bridge. Go jump. Because you have to look logically and you have to say to yourself, okay, if I'm in the trade at this point over here and I'm going up, great. But if I'm entering over here and I'm still expecting to go up into this direction here, I need to check my head, right? Because what are you thinking? How much further can we go up? When you look left, this is a tumbleweed. You know what tumbleweed is? It's this thing in the desert or the old west that just rolls around. There's nothing over here. So this is scary. This is scary shit. You can't turn around and trade over here anymore. You know, you could take sells, right? Sells would probably have been the best position to take because you know if you thought logically and you were risk adverse or you want to take that risk, when we go and we actually look, we basically had to look at the monthly charts. If you look at the monthly charts, like look at where we were 2016, 2018, 2 years ago. And then you have 2014, right? See a pattern? 2014, 2016, 2018. Look at that. Surprise. So what does that tell you about what's going on in the market? There's always a pattern. There's always a way to figure out what's going to happen next. So when you look at this and you say to yourself, well, I was taking buys because I expected us to keep going up. All you had to do was go and look at the higher time frames and you had to just look at all this information and you would have been like, uh-oh, that doesn't look too good. Like we just broke like a big level and now we're over at the next big level. How much more effort do we have to do that? And I mean, you could look at the monthly candle here, right? And what do we say when we have this little candle here? Like I got roasted on Instagram for this, right? That wick should fill, right? And sure enough, it did fill. But you didn't know that. You can't guess that. You can't turn around and be like, oh yeah, Ted, like if I had known the monthly was gonna fill, I would have been buying at like 13.15 and ride into like 13.60. Like, you know, I would have been a genius. You don't know how long that's gonna take, and if you have risk adverse, you'd be holding this for a long, long time, right? Because it's the 15th of the month or the 13th of the month. So you would have been there since April 1st. You know, you would have rode this retracement down and you would have basically sat there and said, okay, well, you know, like not going down anymore. Okay, time to take buys. And you would have basically sat there and you would have held your buys from, you know, April 1st. And you would have rolled it all the way up and you would have got like 400, you know, like 400 pips off of that trade. And you've been like, yeah, I'm a genius. Stacked 100 lots, you know, basically made 400K a trade, you know, there you go. That's what you would have done, right? Like, you know, all the demo people, they would have done that and try to stack 100 lots. So when you look at this, once again, it's the same idea. You have to say to yourself, what is happening and why is it happening? So when we go back and we look at what I think I had something for gold. What did I talk about with gold? No, USDJPY. Right. So this is what I had for gold this week, okay? So when we look at what I wrote for gold, all I was targeting was this level here. Look at that. We were at like 1328, 1333. It's targeting this level here for this week, 1347. Yeah. Happy day, right? Took some gold trades on the master account, made some people some money, investors. Some people didn't make a lot. They bitched at me. Sorry about that. But, you know, I sort of just followed my analysis and said, hey, This is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do this week, right? So the idea, once again, is, you know, understanding what you're looking for, hunting your trade, and just really figuring that out. And, you know, when you understand those simple things, you'll realize that, hey, you know, like we go back and we look at the daily on gold. Oh, here you go. So, you know, we were looking at, let me draw these lines out for everybody once again. So we were looking at 1328. So 1328. Yeah, so we were at like 1328 or whatever around here. And, you know, we were looking to fill this wick right here. Oh my gosh, I told you if you're going to be on mute, people are making mute. Boom. See you later. I don't know why people do that. Don't unmute yourself. You're not going to talk, don't unmute. And I don't want to hear you rolling around in bed doing all that fun stuff. Just listen. So you can see what happened. We had all that pulling up and it basically pushed all the way through. Okay, so that's all you were looking for. That was our target. We got our target. And then the next day you had this huge drop, right? Look, reason why. Well, a huge rejection. So what's this? Our big swimming pool, right? So we jumped, we came out. So where do we come back? Probably to our next swimming pool over here. So you have that. And you know this will be your next swimming pool over here. Probably jump back down. Maybe you retest that swimming pool again. But once again, you just have to basically understand simple concepts, but not necessarily everything has to be correct. You just have to hunt things. You have to hunt, right? So if this continues bullish, what do I hunt? I hunt this, right? So this section here, mark it on a journal, mark it on a piece of paper. This is what we're looking for in the future. We will fill this wick in the future. This is future, right? Just like this. This was future. We filled it. Going down this way, we will fill this in the future. This is what you're looking for. This is how you're hunting your trades, because you're saying to yourself, if we move to those levels, that's where I need price to go, and that's where price probably will head to. It's just simple chart cosmetics. It's things like that. But I'm not taking a sell here and saying, oh, it's going to go down here, because there's nothing here to give me any information that we're selling, right? There's nothing here. Sell stops over here. That works because, you know, we're moving in this direction. Buy stops over here. That works. Similar to what I had said in the previous webinar. The idea, once again, is to make sure that you're comfortable, but more important, understanding exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it. And you know what? It's the same thing. You look at everything that happened this week and you look at all the various trades. Let's take a look at USD JPY, right? So let's close that off. And you can see we have change again, right? So you go through this and you take a look and you see what's happened. Let's take a look at what we had for USD JPY. I don't think my analysis was right. So we marked out two zones for reference. And, you know, we turn around and we take a look. So we popped out and now we pulled all the way back in. So this analysis here, we were supposed to go past 107 up to 109. We didn't go there. All that ended up happening was we went to 107. Oops, sorry. We went up to 107, but we just sort of stalled there again. So what do we do and what do we say when we look at we stalled, right? So if we look at what happened and we stalled at this level, so once again, we take a look. Even the weekly can give us some information. You can see. Let me zoom in a bit more. Right, all in the same area. So when you're hunting your trades, as you push through yesterday, you can see once we got to this point here, oh, sorry, let me do this. Once we got to this point here, at this point here, you have a decision. That's a question mark, a very bad one. So you have a decision. And the decision is, are we continuing this way, or is this a big enough resistance? We look at our weekly time frame, higher time frame, resistance and support are strong, right? So, you know, you have that muscle man guy. This guy, he's got muscles on his arm. Very strong man. You know, he's got like a big body like that, muscles, got big muscle legs, right? When you're that level, it's going to be hard to break that. So you have to then come to the conclusion that we're not going to break this level. That's okay, because what you do is you drop into your shorter time frames, you look at your hourlies, and now here, you have rejection. You can now anticipate 4 hour starting to go down, right? Higher time frame, HTF, right? Higher time frame, still pushing down. And now look, this is what we're left with. So maybe further wick fill. Why? We hit weekly resistance. Where do we need to go? Probably over to here, right? And you got your triangle again. You're able to do that, and you're able to figure that out. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Dave. Can you explain some of your trades that you've taken on like
Yeah.
the 5 minute, 15 minute, etc. in more detail?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Good questions. Okay, so let's go into the 5 minute and 15 minute into detail. Let's talk about trades that I took today, or the other day. Let's look at these trades. So 15 minute, I'm gonna go into some details of the 15 minutes. That wasn't too smart of me. All right, so let's go into the 15 minute. Just gonna try and get this properly set up for everybody. All right, so here we basically have the trade I did the other day. So this is your 15 minute and your hourly. So you can see this is basically your almost your New York session, right? Because you look at the timing, that's basically your New York session. What you can see from this is that there was support at that point on the 15 minute, and we had momentum going up. Okay. And the idea, once again, is you're looking to break this out, but you can see based on where we had a lot of pullback. So when I'm seeing pullback, if I go into the hourly, I'll go into the hourly. It's just hard to.
If you know the line chart, the vertical line, if you just plot that on your chart, it's a lot easier.
Okay, let me see what I can do here. Let me do this. Okay, so give me a second. Let me pull up this trade. If I can do this properly, we should be okay. All right, let's do this. Because it's enjoyable. People don't like it. Sorry. Sorry you don't like it. Ja, 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 ja. All right. Let's see if this trade pulled up. Where is it? Oh, I moved too far. Because normally what you can do is you can normally plot the trade. Ah, here it is. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's do this.
Yo, Ted, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
How's it going?
It is going well. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. I'm just dialing in from my car so I can see it on the little screen in the car.
Oh, great. Excellent. Welcome. We're going to go through the trade that I took.
Today?
No, the other day. So I just plotted my
nice.
trade.
I was going to say I need to post mine on Instagram. I'm in GBP USD shorts for like 35 pips a piece.
No, very nice.
I'm holding over the weekend, man.
All right, so basically what I did was I was able to plot my trade and I was able to do this. So here's your exit and here's your entry. Okay, so you can see here, we've basically created almost like a support level. And if you look at sort of where the timing was of this trade, we were right in the middle just before the New York session. And what I was looking for, I was able to get basically, when you take a look at this trade, FX books, well, you can see basically 10 pips on this trade, and then the drawdown was basically 3 pips. That's basically what we were looking at.
Sorry, where would you put your stop loss?
My stop loss would have been basically below this level here.
Okay.
But even on the higher time frames, I would be looking more to give me a second. Let me just go through and find it again. There it is. Like you can see here, even on the 15-minute and then again on the hourly, we had a push, right? So as long as on the hourly with GJ, we're not breaking this level here, you're safe, because you can see here, we've basically had consolidation this entire time and momentum was going up, right? So the idea once again here is you're saying, I missed a whole lot of the move. Obviously, I missed all this move here, but I was only looking for a specific part, right? Because of the fact that I was trading off the master account. Obviously, people get pissed when I lose a trade. So I'm being super careful when I make a trade. And to tell you the truth, that also hurts my trading, because it's not that I'm worried about losing. It's more of I'm worried about turning a positive trade into a loss. Like I know I'm going to get 10 pips out of here, and I had a feeling that we were going to get to this level here. I didn't know when we were, but based on the timing of where I was trading, I knew that I needed to get out of the trade before 8 a.m. Because in my mind, at 8 a.m., you can see exactly what happened. So let me clear this. You can see exactly what happened, right? You had this basically, it dropped all the way back almost to break even, right? So it would have killed me there. And I mean, obviously, then the next time it flies back up. And actually, the other Alex in that webinar, he basically said that there was going to be that pull down and then that pull back up. So he actually did that. But when you do that, what I also do is as I'm watching that trade on the 15-minute, I keep losing it all the time. Oh, where are you, Mr. Trade? Let me do this. Yeah, so even on the 15-minute, and if I go into the 1 minute, I'll go back here. You can start.
You're a cunt. You're a cunt. You're a cunt. 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 You're a cunt.
That was awesome. Who was that?
Sounds like I would have fought Scalper or the other guy that doesn't like Raquel. maybe it's the guy that doesn't like me, fucking Clinton. Fucking links don't work.
That was awesome. Okay, anyways, I was like, I lost my train of thought. I was trying to find this trade on the 1 minute chart and it just disappeared
Back
now.
to the trade. Back to the trade.
Oh man, that was good. Let me see if I can find this on the 1 minute. Actually, you know what? Let me do this first. Let me actually pin it down to where it was. Okay, so we're at like the 12th. Okay, that's good because that makes things easier for me. Oh, now we're on the 4th. Yeah. The 1 minute will really give you some insight if I can actually get to it. And then I'll be able to do that. Okay. 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 12. Okay.
Can't.
Bloody Bucky.
You're a cunt. You're a cunt. You're a cunt.
See now, that it worries me because in England.
Can you explain why you are cherry picking, my young sir?
Carry on. I'll get a Mikan to fuck you up.
Can I explain why I'm cherry picking? I'm not. I'm telling you the trade that I took and everyone got it on my master account. So I'm not cherry picking anything. That's actually such a incorrect statement. It's not even funny. Like I'm talking about the trade I actually took and everyone else got the same trade. So you're a cunt, you're a cunt, you're a cunt.
Man, I'm listening to all this while I'm driving and someone's fucking trying to flash me, so I've literally just dipped off, man. Fucking people are idiots. Man, the thing, you know what, man? The problem is you'll put on a webinar and even the webinar won't be good enough, man. You'll took it on your master account, still won't be good enough, man. They'll say, well, why isn't it 11 pips?
Yeah.
The guy probably loses 20% a week anyway.
Okay, so here we are in the 1 minute. Okay, so you can see the 1 minute. It's a little bit shaky, but here's the key for the 1 minute. If I was looking at the 1 minute chart, and I was, is you can see how like a support is built at that point, right? This worried me. Okay, so you can see where I entered my trade, and you can see where I exited my trade on the 1 minute. So basically, we closed at 7:30. We opened at basically 7 o'clock at that point. And you can see what ends up happening is this spikes up, but then the pullback. So this is your key. When you start looking at the timing of your charts, you can see why I'm exiting like right at like a specific time, because there's always going to be a pullback and a drop back down or a retest. Now, once again, you know, as I was saying, I was trying to get, you know, basically your 10 pips here, right? So, you know, you can see it basically got 10 pips on the dot essentially with that trade. And, you know, there was basically, you know, like 3 pip drawdown. So, you know, a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio, because I'm watching the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15-minute chart. But once again, if I had jumped into the higher time frames, I would have seen that we had more room, and we did. But once again, I'm looking to close a trade and just exit it. I'm not looking.
How comes you're trading from hindsight? Why don't you drop a simulator?
What do you mean? I'm showing the trade that I took this week on the master account because people are invested in me and they wanted to see what I was thinking. This is not trading from hindsight. This is what I did live.
God, man.
Oh boy.
Why is he here?
The thing is, man, right? Because he sounds like he's from the UK. Like,
yeah.
If you're from the UK, you're over really interesting for it because obviously it's like 11 o'clock, man, and it's Friday as well. So
yeah, that's true.
You're either really committed to like learning the communication, which I would you know kind of applaud, man, because I've been out, but you know if you're coming on webinars at 11 o'clock on a Friday night to just fucking take the piss, like you need to sort yourself out.
Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, so what I was saying is what you're looking for at this point is as you're mapping out your various time frames, you can see how in the 1 minute your candle spikes and then it drops back down again, right? Because essentially this is, you know, you're essentially like 2 5-minute candles. This is another set of candles, and then, you know, you can see how the pattern works. the key here is to understand how the other candles are finishing. So when we went through this trade and when I was monitoring this trade, I was very aware that at a certain point towards the end of the half hour, we could have a drop, right? Because we had that push up and there could be a possibility where there's a drop. Now, my goal here, once again, is 10 pips, which I was able to achieve. Obviously, I could have held a little bit more. And you can see exactly what happens here, right? So we ended up, the 15-minute candle pulls back on that.
Did you using the high time frame for the confluencings?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically when you look at the hourly time frame, you've had a push up and this is starting the New York session. So you want to basically, you're saying to yourself, okay, at this point, you have a lot of factors. You have essentially this is going to get filled, right? So you're coming close to having that fill. So when you go across, you can see that's filling. We don't know at this point if we're going to drop back down or we're going to continue further up. Now, with that being said, you're early in the session. If you want to hold your trade, you would have held it for the hourly. You would have pulled back down to probably break even, and then it would have continued all the way back up. Now, ultimately, would have been optimal to hold to this level, but once again, I was only going for 10 pips on the trade and I was able to achieve it. Should I have held longer? Yes. Some factors there I didn't want to hold were because last week I had trades that didn't copy and people got pissed off at me, and this week I just wanted to get wins for people. So you know what, I'll go back to my normal trading afterwards. That's sort of what we're doing there. So I'll take some more questions if we do have them.
Brother, I'd like to ask, what kind of trading method you use?
What kind of trading method do I use? Well, price action.
But what, I mean, price action just candles, right? What do you mean? Please, like support resistance, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that is price action, support and resistance. Price action is a study of price in the previous instance to predict future patterns. To predict future patterns, you need to use confluences. Confluences are your support and resistance levels, which are key points in price, so key levels at various time frames, and also the timing during the specific session based on previous instances. It wasn't the trading service that I offer, it was off the master account. So once again, you know, when we look at
Yep.
the leaderboard,
That's premium
that's
signals group.
so you know, like when you come over here, this is where I am. I'm 6021. That's my trading account. I've been on the leaderboard for 7 days, so 78 days. But I mean, here's everybody else and what they're doing on the leaderboard. So that was my account. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go through some stuff. Would it have been early after breaking 151 resistance level, and why? Okay, so let's take a look at 151. Good question.
That leaderboard stuff you're doing, Ted, that's just on traders for that?
Mr. Teds, why you are allowing racisms in chattings?
I'm trying to figure out. I got to answer this question. I keep getting distracted by these funny things. Okay, let me get back to that question from Pete. Would it have been early after breaking 151 resistance level, and why? Okay, so let's go to 151. Well, 151 was right over here. When you take a closer look at 151, your daily would have given you more information, right? So if you look at 151, and you're right, that was a resistance level. But I mean, I would consider it more of a consolidation, because if you see here as an example, there's nothing like, if you, this is our bottom support, right? So this is our bottom support at 150. You can see here, we're not really breaking this level, right? So you can say basically it's ranging at this point, and then when we break out, it should continue further up.
You bloody bastard. Why so many racings? Racism.
Well, let's kill that. We just turned around that and killed that. Okay. Yeah, 151.67. Yeah, that's this area here. That's what I was talking about. This is a range. It's really ranging here, because you can see at this point there's a lot of just taps to that point. So once you've broken it, you've pretty much you're off to the races essentially. Okay, give me a second. Alex raised his hand. There you go. I unmuted you, Alex. Stop making those funny voices. You're distracting me. Okay.
Fucking, as soon as I'm in the car, I have to fucking go pull into a little lane. I was trying to raise my hand.
All right, so let's look at gold. Gold was basically pretty straightforward. I mean, when you look at the overall time frame, so you waited for the whole range to be broken? Yes. Would you say it's better to trade the last 15 minutes in the hour of any other time? It's not necessarily better or worse. It's where you are with key levels, right? So when we talked about gold the other day, when we were looking at gold and we were trading gold the other day, right? When we looked at sort of key levels and we said, 1352 is a key level, we looked here on this hourly, right? And we said this was going to fill, right? So, but when we got to this point here, there was a lot of problems. And that's where I said, when we were talking about in the last webinars, it was, if we fail this, we may push back down, and we did, but then it popped back up, right? But the thing was, there at that point, when you look at that trade, you're saying to yourself, okay, what is the probability if we go down, we end up going down? So, you're putting your stops at, I would say certain levels, right? So like once you go over here, you could probably say, you take a sell at that point to go through that. At this point with gold, I mean, this I don't think was expected. So that was a surprise for everybody. And go through there. Could you go through your losses of this week? I didn't lose any trades this week. I took all wins this week on my account, because you can see like on my leaderboard stats. Let's see if this loads. I basically had 8 profitable trades. I haven't lost a trade yet. So it was. So I don't have anything really to say about losing this week. I apologize. But the idea was, once again, how many trades I take this week? Well, I took 8. I mean, on the master account, that's over 2 weeks actually. Sorry. So I took 4 trades this week on the master account. I did, I'm at 4% for the month. So.
I was going to say, if it helps, I can talk about my loss that I took this week. I took 3 trades. I took USD yen longs twice. I stopped out for 15 pips on Monday, and then I took 50 pips on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then my last position got stopped in profit on days it today? Friday, Thursday. So I got maybe stopped to Wednesday, Thursday, and then I took GU shorts today because it rejected a beautiful daily level. GU looks so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally got stops like 1 pip, man. I'm holding till like 141, 500. Like we haven't broke this level for like 3 times on the daily. Looks so clean.
Yeah. So there's a question here. When you take a trade, do you have any doubts when you trade, and if you do, why? I have doubts all the time when I trade. I'm confident in what I'm doing, but I found with GJ as an example, it's very, very rough to trade, and you can get caught very quickly in drawdowns or movements. So I've been very, very cautious with my plays with GJ. And you know, when I looked at, like, you know, when we looked at GJ trades, you can see how fast you can get into drawdowns, right? So I mean, you have to be very careful. Like here as an example, you're up at this point and then it just shoots down like 60 pips, and then, you know, a bunch of hours later you're back up to that same level. And that's basically, you know, you're always going to have those issues, and you know, it happens. I do lose trades, but on the master account I didn't lose any trades. And the idea here, I mean, I'm getting better at, you know, at this point of like trying to time my trades a little bit better. Like here as an example, I wouldn't be trying to take trades because it's too choppy. I'd probably be putting like stops at this point here, and then when it pulls back, the stop would basically, I would cancel my stop at that point. I wouldn't be back in the trade. And when you look at the overall time frames, you have to trust your analysis that the overall time frames are going to be in your favor and they're not going to pull away, especially if you're not near a support or resistance. Because when you look at trading, once again, the idea is always, you're always pushing to a certain key level. And if you can identify that key level, it doesn't have to be the exact number, but if you understand why price is moving and where you think it's moving to, you can anticipate that, and you can then hedge in terms of the way that you're anticipating the trade. And then you just add that confluence of where you are in the session. And I can't stress that enough. Like with GJ, if you're trading that mid-morning in the US session, you know you're going to have a lot of volume. But then come the afternoon, you're not going to have that volume anymore. So you have to plan and map out those trades and say, okay, this is what I want to do based on that for the time being. Let's see. Ted, why have you switched from gold or UJ to GJ? Just because GJ has been moving a lot cleaner and the trend's a lot better. If you get on the right trend, you gain more pips. Yeah, I mean, GJ is very tough to trade, don't get me wrong, but the idea is if you're able to control your risk, you'll be okay. With GJ, I also lower my risk a bit as well. I've started to do that. I'm not taking as many trades or as heavy with that. Okay, so there's lots of questions coming in.
How big stop loss on GJ average, Ted? Is about 10 pips.
Yeah, you have to have a 10 to 15, almost 20 pip stop loss on GJ. You have to. It's just the nature of what it does.
I'll go for 10 pips. I don't know how Raquel uses 7 pips.
Yeah, it's very tough. Like I've like. Yeah. Hey Ted, you buy sell stops. I noticed that when it breaks, it tends to retrace back to the retest. So the question is, lately has the trades you took retraced to drawdown? If so, was it past your risk trade? No, because I was timing my trade based on the market. So I just explained my GJ trade, and I had a 1 to 3 risk to reward with that. I had a 3 pip drawdown and a 10 pip gain, because I was trading at a time where market momentum was starting to shift up and also volume was starting to pick up. So those moves aren't going to be as prevalent because we're starting to trend in that direction. And you know what? If it reverses, it's not a big deal at all because that's why you have stops. Ted, what are your reasons for trading the 1 minute on GJ and how has this benefited you? I find the 1 minute for execution on entries, you get a little bit more of an exact entry, and you can also watch to see how the candles form because GJ candles form a lot faster on the 1 minute, and in like 3 minutes, GJ could have dropped like 3, 4, or 5 pips. I usually see the last 15 minute of the hour, there's a pullback. What other factors in times that are considered during the sessions? Understand when the stock market opens, understand when currency market opens and closes. Those are key points as well.
Okay, I've got to shoot, guys, but obviously
Okay.
Ted,
Have a good one. You too, sir. Can you show us which confirmation candles do you use in which time frames? I explained that when I did my trade. I went through all that, so I'll go through it again. So let's go back. Candle confirmations, I'm not looking at specific candles, I'm looking at price levels, and I'm looking at where I need to be. So if you look right here, and we zoom in a bit more, there we go. So you can see here, why did I take this trade? Okay, we had upward momentum. This pulled back, so we know that this wick has to fill in momentum. Where do I exit? At the wick fill. That's all I'm looking for at that point. I'm not looking at this or this or whatever it is. I'm looking at a specific trade and I'm hunting that specific idea. That's all I'm trying to do. And that is what I do. That is how I trade. I've never learned candle formations, candle patterns, all of that information. I've never learned any of that. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me because all I look at is price levels and where we're at between support and resistance and momentum and where we're moving to. Because if I waited for candles, this, like, what does this mean? I don't know. I mean, we're going down now? It doesn't mean we're going down to me. It just means like we're probably going to have like a support level and then we're going to go back up. Like, what does this mean? Like, I don't know. How would this help me right now in this section? This wouldn't give me any information at all. Like, what are these? Like that's just random crap, right? But what we're looking at is if you turn around and you say to yourself, okay, I'm taking a buy here. Okay, we've stopped over here. If we break this level, then we're going down. But if not, we're going up, right? I don't worry about all this. I worry about where we're finishing candles, like where we're stopping those candles and where we're moving to, right? And then when we get to this point here, we're at a major resistance. So I have to make a decision. Do I stay or do I go? I found if you wait for a candle on GJ, you basically miss the trade. No, you just have to wait for it to reload. Do you swing trade on the account or just look for scalp positions in and out? I'm just scalping. How did you deal with discipline side to trading in your first 6 months of trading? I didn't have any problems. I'm old. I'm 38 years old. I have discipline already. I don't want to lose money. I can't afford to lose money. You guys are young. You're reckless. That's all internal. You know, you obviously believe that you're better than you are, and you're not realistic with yourself. You know, people are too worried about making hundreds of dollars instead of just practicing the process and being smart. That's the biggest problem. You think that you're better than you are. You think you deserve more than what you're getting, and it's the total opposite. You don't deserve anything. You don't deserve to win at trading. You don't deserve to make money at trading. And if you go in with that attitude, you turn around and you focus on just process and results, right? This is for me. When I look at this is my process. 612 trades, 73% win, 25% loss. 8 trades in a row win. That's all I care about. Do I get a winning trade? I don't care what this number is, what this number is, what this number is. I care about this. Did I win the trade? That's what I care about when I trade. Did I win the trade? I don't care how much I made. I don't care how little I made. I care about winning, because I know if every day I just win one trade every single day, I'm on an upswing. And that's the problem with everyone that trades today. And, you know, everybody's trying to, you know, make this money and go all the way up, and it doesn't make sense. And people need to understand that this is a process. If you take one profitable trade a day and you win, that should be good enough for you. And if it's not good enough for you, you need to evaluate your life, and you need to ask yourself why you do not believe it's good enough for you. Why do you not believe? Why? Because you paid myself or another mentor money and you believe that you should make that money back? This is the wrong attitude to have. And yes, it's being recorded. It'll go into the drive. The problem is, at the end of the day, when you go to school and you pay for education, you're not guaranteed a job. So are you going to be upset? No, because you realize that there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of uncertainty. And at the end of the day, you as a trader have to deal with that uncertainty. You have to realize that, hey, you know, so far in the month of April, I've made 4%. Like, bullshit. It's crap for me. It's not good. Like, look at my last month's return. I did 146%. I mean, I had shit in the first couple of months, excuse me, because of the issues. But for me, I'm not happy with that result. It doesn't mean that I'm going to trade more. It doesn't mean that I'm going to push limits. It just means that I have to sit down and evaluate why I'm not achieving the results that I'm trying to achieve. And I know the reason why I'm not achieving the results that I want. I'm not achieving the results that I want because A, I'm not able to focus 100% on trading anymore. I'm still mentoring everybody. I'm running a brokerage. I'm trying to do other things. So I'm not 100% there mentally. 2, I have many people that are following my every single move. And as much as it doesn't bother me, of course it still bothers me, because I have people that are judging me that should be focusing on themselves. And it bothers me not because they're judging me. It bothers me because they're not focusing on themselves. And that bothers me because I'm trying to figure out a way to get them to focus on themselves and take all the attention off of me and build yourself up, but they won't. So that keeps me up at night. Is, you know, it's not that people care how I trade or how I don't trade. It's just basically when I look at what I'm doing, people are not doing things for the right reasons. They're doing them for the wrong reasons. And that's the biggest problem. And that's why there's a lot of reasons why I do what I do. And, you know, obviously as the brokerage gets a little bit better, I'll probably, be up there again a little bit more, trading more aggressive, things of that nature. But I mean, it's a long year. We're only in April. We've got May, June, July, August, September. I'm right on schedule. I do about 300, 400% a year. I've done 150% over the last 3 months. That's okay. I'm on schedule. I know where I need to be. I know if I need to turn it up or turn it down. Right now, I can afford just to take things as they are, and when the market matures in the later months, I'll attack that as okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Which accounts are you investing in? Well, there's actually a lot of accounts that I'm investing in. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. I'm investing in those. And then MT5. Investing in this one. Investing in this one. There's actually a couple of new people that I'm looking at. I'm investing in this one. I'm investing in this one. There's one more. This one. I'm investing in this one. So there's lots of people that I'm investing in. All right. Do I do one-on-one mentoring? No, I do not. It's not worth anybody's time. I don't feel people get value out of it. We do group webinars, and you can ask questions, and everybody can learn together and ask questions together. And people that don't want to ask questions, it's okay. All right, so you guys have a good night. Enjoy. I'm gonna go out to grab something to eat. Hopefully this was insightful. Hopefully everybody enjoyed what we were talking about. And like I said, it's recorded, so it'll go into everyone's drive. Just bug your mentor; they'll be able to pull it out and do whatever they're doing. And we can do that. And hopefully everybody has a good weekend. Everybody keeps working hard. And I mean, we're always around too. Like if you have questions, just message me. I'm always around. It's just I'm not active in the chats because I believe the chats are working fine. And if they're not, you know, if there's things that are going on that, you know, people have questions on, post in the chat. I'm always around there. I think people are always communicating. If you have a question, post it in there. Someone will always answer. Don't be afraid because the chat's silent that you shouldn't be in there talking. Post. People will always respond. It pings us, you know. FX Family is going to, Forex Family 2.0 is going to be released very, very shortly. We're on the final stages of everything. Website's basically done. The app is getting done. All the testing is there. So, I mean, it's going to be a big thing in the next couple weeks. So, enjoy.